Good morning. It is my first full day here in Hoi An. In about 10 minutes, I've got to go downstairs because I'm taking a guided tour to the My Sun Sanctuary, and these are some ruins that are about 1,000 years old, from what I've been told, and they're about an hour outside of Hoi An, Da Nang, and I'm really excited to go and see these and learn about some of the local history, but I've had to get up quite early for this, as this is a morning tour, so yeah, it's about 7:20 now and the bus gets here in 10 minutes, so yeah, and since I fell asleep quite late last night, I'm a little tired, but I'll be okay, and besides, once I'm on the road, I reckon I'll wake up properly, so it'll be alright. So what's really insane about this place is that it was actually abandoned by its original builders sometime in the mid-1500s, and for several hundred years it was completely untouched by humans and civilization, and it was only rediscovered about 125-ish years ago. And since then, obviously, certain things have been restored, and then other things have been damaged by the Vietnam War. But it's insane to think that for several hundred years, the place I'm standing in now was just surrounded by jungle with no humans around. It's all been sitting here until people found it again. One thing I'm struggling with though is it's bloody hot here. Even though it's supposedly colder than yesterday and it was raining this morning, I'm frickin' boiling. So one thing that the tour guide told us is that this building is about just over 1,000 years old. But the thing is, these bricks down here, these are actually newer than the ones up here, which look in a lot better condition. Because these were built to keep the foundation strong, to stop the bricks higher up from collapsing. But whatever building methods the people who built these used, apparently it's been lost to history, and these bricks down here were placed with more stereotypical cement things, and the newer bricks have obviously worn away a lot more compared to the much older bricks and the much older building style, which has been in some ways lost to history. But it's fascinating to think that these bricks, you know, are so well preserved when you look at them, compared to these down here, which were replaced after the rediscovery of this place. So it's fascinating to think just how well these things were built, that this is almost over 1,000 years old, and it's still in really good condition.
Sunset.
It's fascinating to see just how well some of the structures here have held up given the ravages of time and nature from the effects of being abandoned and overgrown by the jungle for several hundred years. But sadly, a number of the structures here were lost when the US Air Force bombed the area during the late 1960s. However, thankfully there is a lot of conservation work being done to preserve the remains of the site, and I have heard some reports that there are plans in the future to restore or even reconstruct some of the former buildings here. We all went over here because it's dry. No one. As part of the tour, a boat trip was included for the return journey to Hoi An, and it was quite nice to take in the scenery, but it was hard to focus on it fully because it did start to rain and we did all get quite a bit soaked, so yeah. So I think I had hair in my mouth, but that tour was honestly really interesting. To see the Mison Sanctuary, yeah, it's Mison, not Mison, I pronounced it wrong this morning, but seeing that was really interesting because again, a lot of those structures were over 1,000 years old, and again, the fact that parts of it were really well preserved was just really interesting. But God, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't exhausted, because again, 7:30 pickup, I woke up at 6, but I only had 5 hours sleep, so yeah, and I'm not the best morning person either, so, but hey, can't say I regret it, so yeah. So I've now made it to Hoi An Ancient Town, and it is bloody hot. You know, like, I thought yesterday was warm, but today it just feels so much warmer. Like, as soon as I step out of my room with air conditioning, it's just like a blanket of heat that just descends on you. But I had a little bit of a thing as when I got here, I realised that I forgot the SD card for my GoPro, so I had to dash around the corner to a phone shop here, and you know, thankfully they sold a SD card, so I bought one of them and I've put it in, and I'm now recording this footage on that, so yeah. Hoi An's ancient town is the oldest district in the city of Hoi An, and it was an active trading port between the 15th and the 19th centuries. Many of the buildings here are hundreds of years old, and the town still has its original street layout from several hundred years ago. During its heyday, Hoi An attracted traders from all across Asia and even as far as Europe, and traces of their presence can still be found today. One notable case of this is this bridge you see here, which is known as the Japanese Bridge due to it being built by Japanese merchants in the 17th century. What's funny is all around the old town it has kind of a familiar smell to it, like not a bad smell, but it's kind of the smell that I'm used to knowing when I enter into like museums which have really old artifacts, or again like really old museum ships, or it just reminds me of that. So
em mời em hơi chịu em qua nữa. Rồi bây
So I've had a really nice time just wandering around Hoi An Old Town and just taking it all in and looking at, you know, what this place is like. I mean, I've only actually been in one of the official sightseeing spots they've listed. The rest I've just kind of walked past on the outside. One of them was very crowded, so I elected not to go in it because of that. And I'm just trying to avoid crowds where I can, even though the whole place is very busy. But even though it is busy here, it is just really nice. I mean, when I was on the boat not long ago, even though it was packed with people, it was just so relaxing and just so calming to just, you know, go down the river in the middle of this town and watch the lights slowly come on. I mean, look at it now. All the lights are on. They were slowly turning on while I was on the boat because I'd started the boat just after sunset, which was really nice. And yeah, it's just been really enjoyable walking around and just looking at everything and taking the place in. I don't need to go into any of the things to enjoy it. And I mean, I did buy myself a pair of lanterns, so hopefully when I get home they'll still be intact and I can find some in my room to hang them up, because I thought, why not get a pair so that I can put one each side of something and then it will look that much nicer. But yeah, even though again this place is very touristy, it's deservedly so of that, because it is really nice. And even with so many people here and, you know, more than one person approaching me trying to sell stuff, and some obvious, like, you know, people just trying to get you to take their stuff and then demand money off it, but it is just really nice here. And like, if you are in central Vietnam, I say you have to come here, because, well, I mean, there's no rule saying you have to, but you really would be missing out, even just for an evening, to just come here and wander around and take it all in, because it's just beautiful. I mean, just look at this. Every month in time with the full moon, Hoi An holds a monthly lantern festival where all lights in the town are turned off except for those inside the lanterns. However, if you can't make it in time for the full moon, you can still enjoy the lanterns of Hoi An, because every night all of the boats on the river have their own lanterns that they will turn on, which, as you can see right here, still creates an absolutely beautiful environment. And even though I missed the monthly festival, I was still blown away by how beautiful it was here. If you're ever planning on travelling to central Vietnam, Hoi An is somewhere that you should definitely consider visiting, because despite how busy and touristy it can be here, there's so much history and beauty here that visiting Hoi An is something that you're never going to forget.